Welcome to Starseed Gathering podcast. This podcast is hosted by Annabelle Ivaya, intuitive mentor and healer. This platform welcomes all of the light workers, healers, and coaches from all around the globe to share their story, their awakening, their path, and their mission here on earth today. You will meet a beautiful soul today that wants to share their light with you. Allow the story that you will hear and all of the information to land within you like a breeze of love. I welcome you into this sacred space. Enjoy this podcast. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Starseed Gathering Podcast. I'm super excited to see you. I have Kema with me today. We are not so far geographically, actually, from each other. Well, not that close either, but we're pretty close. We're gonna be speaking about spirituality. As you know by now, this podcast is really about showcasing people that have spiritual abilities, spiritual businesses. They have this beautiful mission of sharing the light with the world. And I was called a couple years ago to really give them a platform to share their message and their story. So I'm super excited to see you and connect with you, beautiful. So please tell us a bit about you. I know you're a death doula, which is quite something that I haven't heard a lot. So I'm super excited to hear about this and all of the spiritual work that you do. So please welcome and share a bit about it.
Yes, thank you so much for having me as well. I love having these kinds of conversations. Recently, it came to me that it's the season of podcasts for me. So this came at the perfect timing. And as you said, yes, I'm a death doula and spiritual life coach, et cetera, et cetera. I do a lot of things. It's funny because I think that a lot of the work that I do stemmed from having this inadequacy storyline in my life. So I grew up with this perfectionism, the line between perfectionism and never being enough, which a lot of us, I think, have. And so it caused me to always, oh, I want this next certification. I want this next training. And I added all this stuff to my list and started doing this healing work. And now I'm integrating this like self-worth. It's like, okay, all right, I am enough, and I'm grateful to have all the training. So, yeah, death doula, spiritual life coach. I offer Reiki trainings, sound healing, breath work, pet loss work. I'm a musician, DJ, composer, and all of this stuff. It kind of goes together. Yeah.
Really cool. I love how expanded it is. It probably didn't start like that, but I love that you're expanding. And I think we all feel so much better when we have so many of those beautiful services that we can offer because our connection to the divine just develops it so much, right? As we grow. Can you share what brought you to, you were talking about being, probably not feeling good enough and feeling different and feeling like what is my place on this planet type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah, absolutely. And
Share more.
I've been working on a book that is titled How to Be Love. And it's kind of like a survivor guide for people who are different. Because I feel like when I was born, I knew how to love. I knew how to connect with people at the heart level. But growing up, I mean, I was born in '89, and so growing up in the world at that time, being in this patriarchal kind of split that we have, the damage that we've done to men and to women and made that really hard split. Being a feeling person and falling into the category of boy, I was taught very quickly that it's not safe to love. And so for a long time, I struggled because I knew that there was something in my heart that I knew was a way to live that was necessary for this world, but it just wasn't quite time. And I think for a lot of us, it's a survival tactic. We have to tell other people's stories in order to survive. So the story about close yourself off, the story about don't share this with people, don't give people, I would give people gifts or money or whatever all the time. I'm just so free about it. But don't love people, don't express your emotions, especially for men. That story we have to tell because the people who are our parents and our teachers and everyone that we rely on to survive are the ones that rely on us to tell those same stories. And so this last part of my life that was really the healing journey was, how do I rewrite this story? This doesn't speak to my heart. It causes physical, mental, and emotional ailments and illness to continue in this way. And I refused. I'm very stubborn. So I refused. I was like, I refuse to continue to feel depressed, anxious, stressed, like I don't belong in this world. And that's really where this long healing journey, but this way of rewriting the story and learning how to be love once again, came about in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see myself in your story, although I'm not a man, but there's so much pressure and just pushing away the feelings and not talking about the real thing. It's like, when your parents and their parents and all of the ancestors we have, they always learn to not express anything. I mean, nobody actually knew before us that it was okay to do it. So it's like, how could we have been taught that anyway, right?
Yeah.
But definitely as hypersensitive souls, how difficult it is to be in this world. And you're like, yeah, but I want everybody to love each other. I don't understand why I have to put set boundaries and why people are not just happy with each other. It's like, why can't we
Hmm.
just hug and be happy and dance? It's like we get so we're a bit daydreamers, I think, but because
Hmm.
we still have this connection with the divine. We still know this part. Like we're not completely severed. I think that's why we're so
Yeah.
different. We're not completely severed, and that's because of our mission, right? As star seeds here for
Yeah.
the ascension. So yeah, tell me more. Tell me
Yeah,
more.
absolutely. And I think that connection for me, something that's very special is I was homeschooled at a young age, and I was raised in dance and music. My close family, at least the four of us, were always really supportive of who I am as a queer individual and everything. And so after I moved to Wisconsin when I was about 10 and decided to go into public school. It's like I was already this long-haired dancer, New Mexican homeschooler. There was no way for me to push away who I was. And I think that was the benefit that I never really lost that connection. I was always told to continue being and expressing my imagination, which is one thing we stamp out really in our society. Our public education system is really about creating cogs for the machine. And the first step is stamping out imagination because of how powerful it is, because it's our lifeblood. It's how we create in this world something new instead of repeating these patterns. But just with who I was never able to hide. And I struggled and suffered a lot from that, from the other peers, from the other kids. But that connection has always been there. So it was really a matter for me of a few layers as opposed to a life where you're just in the system right away. I think a lot of people that are there have maybe more to work through. I mean, we all have a lot to work through. It's very different. So I'm not going to say they have more or less, but I think for me the luck was that my connected family were supportive of that journey for me.
Wow. Oh, I love that for you. And you were just saying before we started the recording that you're Leo. So like your creativity is like
Hmm.
forefront of who you are. So how beautiful that they could allow you to be that way, right? That allow you to
Hmm.
express yourself because it's so important to us to be true to ourselves. And as you say, I know for me, like the 3D jobs that I did before I did this work, that was always that like, yeah, but it's always so repetitive and I don't feel fulfilled. And there's so much more, I think, for me. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna change jobs or position in the same career, but like I would never find enough space to spread my wings. And that was always like something very difficult for me. So how did you embody this as far as a career? How did that work for you?
Yeah, so really, I think the reason that my career in coaching and healing work is so aligned with purpose is because it was just this long journey that I went on, my healing journey. I mean, it started from the first step into spirituality in general was from a time when I was about 16 years old and I was in a deep depression and I had attempted suicide. And so this story of taking these pills and vodka and wanting to end life, which I feel like there was a part of me that did need to die at that time, but not the physical vessel. And my mom gave me the option to go to the hospital or not if I wanted. And so I chose to live at that point, and I feel like I've been blessed, and I kind of lifted the veil at that time. And so after that, the journey of healing through the depression and expanding, and the journey I've taken in all these paths, the next step after this sort of completion, this embodiment and integration of the healing work, it was just like, okay, what do I do next? Is I offer it to other people, and I think that's why it's aligned purpose for me. It's not, oh, I can make some money being a Reiki master or a coach. It's, I did this work and went through the fires. I know that people that are out there that are suffering can free themselves and heal through this. And I've walked this path that's decades worth. Maybe let's work together and make it a year or three instead of 10 to 15 years, like fast track
Definitely.
it.
Right. Fast
Yeah.
tracking, right?
Uh-huh.
I think we're so passionate for that because, between the first layers of awakening we have, there's always more. But at some
Yeah.
point we get tools, right? And we're like, ooh, actually, that actually works. Right. And
Hmm.
then we kind of develop our own way of working with energy, with working with, our guides and inner guidance. And when we can give that kind of a passageway like that's just easier for others, like how beautiful is that, so that they don't have to wait, well, not waste, but wait all of these other years to get to connect to the real part of themselves. What is one thing that you love the most seeing in your clients when you work with them? Tell me.
Oh, that I love seeing the most. I think that the most exciting thing is that a lot of my clients have gone on to be mentors in their own lives, in their own right, going on to creating video, kind of mentorship, coaching things of their own learning and experiences through the work we do together, or working with the land and animals, releasing themselves from old relationships that were keeping them trapped, not by anyone's fault. You're never at fault or the other person is at fault in a relationship, but because you need to move on separately. And so it's really cool to see that. And it's cool to see people react to how much deeper it is than they think it is. I think that's one thing that touched me after, over a decade of following the breadcrumbs, to do that in a compacted, my clients are 8 to 12 weeks. The ones that have really expanded in 8 to 12 weeks of mind blowing how deep this really goes. So it's really cool to see that. And I'm just humbled. I'm humbled every time. I think that there's a grace to having a little bit of that imposter syndrome or that like perfectionism, because every time that someone says it, it's like a really humbling experience, that it's truly feels like being a vessel for the work as opposed to owning it. Because I'm like, don't thank
Definitely.
me, thank yourself. I mean, thank
Right.
yourself because you're the one doing the work, but at the same time, I can't embody and say, obviously you're welcome. But
Right.
at the
Right.
same time, it's best not, I mean, it feels best not to attach to it. It doesn't feel authentic to say, oh, I did this for you. And yeah.
Exactly. Because I think those that have walked the talk, they know how difficult it is to look at the shadow and to go deep into the depths of everything and just like allow yourself to be and to cry and to go through the motions, and seeing how much when you do this, like you go up the ladder and you change your perspective. So I feel you when you say that. It's like very humbling to receive the thank yous, and all. I think people are really, we make so much bigger changes in their life or a bigger impact than we actually allow ourselves to believe. But at the same time,
Hmm.
as you said, you do the work. I'm just here, like, guiding you and giving you the flashlight so that you see your
Yeah, yeah,
your path a little bit clearer, but you have to walk it. I'm not gonna walk it for
yeah,
you.
yeah. And it's really, we're mirrors, is really what it is. We're reflecting. And it's interesting because I feel like everyone, when I post on my social media and I have a message that comes through in channeling, all I'm doing is talking to myself 6 months ago or a year ago or 5 years ago. And so it's really a blessing to be able to reflect on people the way that my coaches have done for me too, where you're talking, and it's like, oh, wait, there's this perspective. Did you realize that all of this ties into, not feeling like you're enough? And they're like, oh, I never even realized that. It's just such a, yeah, such a rewarding experience in that way.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So when you channel, do you receive a lot of messages that you actually feel like you need to share on social media? Is it when you connect to you meditate? How does that go for you? How does it work?
It really depends. So for me, a lot of it comes through. So my claircognizance is my main channel of psychic ability, which is I used to get so frustrated at it because I'm like, how do I prove that I know this is a fact? But so for me, a lot of times I do a daily meditation practice. I silent meditation is my lifeline. And so in meditation, oftentimes it'll come through, and if a message flows through, or I'll ask for a message, then I write it down and I plan out the reel. I'm doing my best to get better at just pressing record and talking, which a lot of people I know do, but that's a different experience. I'm also a Virgo stellium and Capricorn stellium, so to just improvise something without analyzing it first.
Right. I'm studying astrology, so it kind of makes sense. For some people, it might
Yeah,
want, it might not, but it's interesting because Virgo and Capricorn are very mind driven, so that's why we're saying
yeah,
that. So like when you have a lot of like, yeah, but it has to be confirmed by, well, right now
yeah,
it's probably really like this work that you're doing is probably triggering a lot of those parts of you. It's like, yeah, well, even if you try to find scientific, support, more and more we'll find. But it's not
yeah.
like the usual 3D stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the Virgo part is that analytical mind where you're like, okay, take this apart. Is this accurate? Is this the best way I could put this? And so, but I love it and embrace it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Because we're so multi-dimensional in this incarnation and all of the other parts. I'm the death doula thing keeps coming in my
yeah,
head. Talk about
me
this.
too.
I'm very curious about how it is
Yeah,
and what it is.
yeah, me too. And it's funny because just earlier today, I had a friend call me. So I volunteer at a local hospice here, and I also work at an animal, it's an elder care and hospice for dogs, horses, and poultry here in town. And the lady that the volunteer coordinator texted or called me today from the human hospice. And there was this person I was going to meet with and see if the potential companionship for their walking them home at the end of life was good for them. And she's like, I think you're a real death doula because right after I mentioned you, this person went into the active stages of dying. And it's
Uh,
funny because my last patient, the last companion I had passed just after our first meeting as well. And so, and
right.
on the farm, I'm known as the angel of death as well because I come in and I do Reiki for the animals as they transition. And I show them, there was a Chihuahua I was working with, and as I was doing Reiki, it just flashed into my mind all the memories. And I realized we were doing a life review with her, and she was seeing
Oh.
her life flash before her eyes. And then I do a little animal communication. So I was showing her how to relax. I was like, we love having you here. You're a blessing to our life. But if you're ready to let go of the suffering, like, this is how you relax into it. Just surrender to the flow. And she passed fairly quickly after that. The death doula work in general, I trained for human death doula, and it's really just non-medical assistance at the end of life. So it's like having an extra family member who is educated on the dying process, having someone who can sit and alleviate what I see my role is as alleviating all suffering in life and at end of life. So that might look like observing and exploring people's belief systems. If you believe that you might go to hell after, let's talk about that. I'm also an ordained minister. People can confess to me, or I can come in if I need to. Legacy work, create a project or poetry or something like that that you can leave behind for your family is making sure things are tied up. So it's basically all the non-medical stuff. And the way that it differs from a hospice volunteer is we spend more time with you. So I really look like it as an added member of the family that comes in and can talk about the death, where a lot of people don't have that capacity right now. Hmm.
Right, right. I love
Hmm.
that you're doing that because I really feel, as much as I think for a lot of us that are working with, energies, we're not afraid so much of death anymore once we have this awakening, we kind of know we're transforming, but a lot of people are not there yet. And I love that you're able to walk them through that so that and as you said, like some family members are like, I don't know what to tell them. I don't know. I don't even want to get into this. I just want them to be okay, right? So they probably really feel relieved by your presence through that,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and that helps too with a lot of times. For one example, a lot of times at the end of life, we believe that the things that make us healthy are going to be the same for someone who is dying. But if someone's in the active stages of dying and their body is shutting down, the last thing that we want to do is feed them when their body can't process it. So if someone wants to, we want to do something. As humans, we want to do something. We want to know that we can do something and experience, but to force feed someone because we think it's going to keep them alive, it may actually be uncomfortable for them. And so it's to have a mediator there and to be someone that can be like, okay, this isn't what's best for them. How can you just be? How can you just hold space? To lean more toward the most precious last moments you can have with someone are uh, who you are in their presence. Hmm.
Right. And it's so much about the spiritual teachings too, right? How to
Hmm.
be instead of how to do.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. It's human being, not human doing. And it's just the Western world. We're in a productivity pusher capitalistic societies, and it's we're doing our best to work with that as it is and watch it crumble or burn if it needs to, which let's see. But right now it's how do we switch and shift into that beingness, into holding space, into not having to do something. Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, I can feel that this is very something very, very meaningful that you're doing with these people that are, close to passing and the clients that because we do that with our clients.
Mhm.
So tell me more about the spiritual coaching that you do or any specificities about the type of services that you offer. You talked about them, but just a little bit more so that we can understand what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that as we transition into talking about spiritual life coaching, I do believe that life coaches are death doulas in our own right. I just think that a lot of life coaches were doing the metaphorical deaths in our lives. Usually, when someone goes to a coach, it's because they're going through a transition that they don't know how to traverse the territory, and someone that reflects their same storyline has been there and can help. And so for the spiritual life coaching, for me, it's generally people who are going through what I call spiritual emergency, using the word emergency to say that they're in crisis mode, there's something going on, they know there's more to life, they're living at a job that's just not aligned with their heart purpose, and they know there's something better. There's a part of them that says there's something better for me. They just don't know how to build it in their life. And then the other word form of the word emergency is that they are emerging. It's an emergence into the spiritual experience. And so the people that I work with are transitioning through relationships. As I said before, a lot of my clients have been in relationships and they're just walking a different path. And how do they be their authentic self and move forward either in the relationship or outside of it? How do you build a spiritual practice? How do you incorporate ritual into your life? How do you, as I've done in my life, how do you move forward from depression, anxiety, stress, the fear, the lack of consciousness, all these things that are actually, they're not universal law, and I tell people like working a 9 to 5 to survive barely is not a universal law. And whatever your heart passion is, there is a path where you can live your heart's passion and thrive. And it's just you have to take the leap from um, the fear that's kind of maybe intentionally fed to us. I'm not completely convinced it's always intentional. I don't think there's the people that feed the fear are smart enough to know. But how do we break free from the fear? And you have to step out of that. So the life coaching expands beyond that as well, and it takes people where they're at. So everyone's path is different, and we just take whatever practices work with you and build you into living your heart's purpose. And then outside of that, the Reiki, as far as things also that I offer virtually, I'm a Reiki master and an animal Reiki practitioner. And I am building as much as I can end of life Reiki as well and exploring what it looks like to do trainings for people at end of life because with Reiki and other healing modalities, we think of healing as, oh, you have this ailment and now you're healed and cured. But at end of life, it's not about curing. It's about how do we smooth the transition? How do we bring more spirit into the experience? How do we alleviate the pain and the nausea that they're going through? How do we come to peace within the family and ourselves? And then I do the Reiki trainings online as well and distance Reiki. So if anyone is anywhere in the world, we can work together. I do a weekly breathwork class that is similar to holotropic breathwork. So it works with our energetic patterning to transition into an altered state of mind and to release energy that has been keeping us repeating patterns. So it's how do we take ourselves from this one limiting story and move into this next one? This is a powerful bridge to connect us into that. And then death doula work, sound healing. I'm a sound healer. I've been working for over a decade as a sound healer. I do trainings as well. I think there's more. I'm also someone that like I'm here to I am very grateful that service is my favorite thing in the world is to be of service. So I'm also someone that's here as like if a mentorship, if that's the word you want to use, or if you're like going through something, let's sit down and talk. Or if you just want to have a conversation about spirituality and you don't have someone in your life, I love talking. So there's many things, yeah. Just to highlight a couple, I guess.
I love it. I love it. You briefly also spoke about the DJing.
Hmm.
Tell me about this because
Yes.
I used to go out, some time ago.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And when I have connections in Los Angeles, so sometimes when I'm out there, I love dancing. I don't drink or
Yeah.
anything. I just love to go out
Yeah.
dancing. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
ways to move energy. But I'm a musician. I've been a musician my whole life, and I love music that affects our brains, like mental, oh, what's happening here? But for me, DJing is all about the music that's with the body and the heart. So mostly I DJ house music, global house. I've always loved world music, so I'll throw in like Balkan house, Afro house, Latin house, that kind of stuff into the mix, organic stuff. So around Santa Fe, there's not really many places to dance, but there's a couple bars that I work with. I host events, and so I'll go and DJ every once in a while.
Love
Mhm.
it. Love it. And it's so beautiful, I think. Somebody conscious that creates music is just such a different energy that happens to be in the music that is created. And I do believe, I sing, so I know the power of like the sound and whatever, even more so when it's conscious.
Yeah.
So I love that you're sharing that too. It's quite beautiful. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's really powerful. My new thing has been drumming. I was taking drum lessons just to learn how to write for the drums, and now that I do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how cool is it to come home and just like hit things? It's such a good thing. It's so beneficial.
Right. Then you can
So get
feel it
yourself,
in your body.
yeah, yeah. So get yourself like a medicine drum or something. If you get one of those and you just have a have a day and you get home and you just close your eyes and beat on the drum and you can um entrain your heartbeat, your brain frequencies, entrainment with the beat. Just beat it at the level that will calm your heart down. It's just so good.
Definitely. Talking about all of this, would you like to share anything kind of live with us today?
Guide through a violet flame meditation, and the violet flame is one of my favorite tools that we can use to transmute energies that are not serving. So that heaviness that you're carrying with you, that grief maybe that's in your heart, anything that's not serving a purpose, even though some of those darker energies do serve a purpose. So if it doesn't go away, it's teaching you something, but it will help and alleviate and bring peace. And I wanted to say before I go into this as well, a lot of times with these visualizations, I have students that can't visualize. They can't form a picture in their mind. So speaking to you or anyone that is like that, that feels like you can't visualize, anytime I say see, sense, feel, if you can use one of your other feelings, that's fine. If you can feel it or if you can hear it coming up, or simply sit, breathe, and intend, and trust that your intention to make it happen is allowing it to flow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
When you're
So,
ready, go ahead.
yeah. So I invite you to find a comfortable position, and if you're watching this and you're able to find a seated position or perhaps even laying down, feel free as long as you're not driving or using a machine right now, and just diving deep into your inner space by closing your eyes and bringing all of your attention to your breath. feeling the sensations of that air flowing in through your nose, down your throat, expanding your lungs. Feeling your lungs guide the air back up your throat, releasing warm against your nostrils. Allowing your breathing to remain peaceful, easy, simple. Every inhalation, feeling yourself drinking in more of the present moment. And every exhalation, feeling yourself sinking in to your being. Feeling the weight of your body supported by our Earth Mother, allowing any tension in your body to simply melt away. Relaxing your face, your jaw, your tongue, your shoulders, your arms and hands, your stomach, unclenching your buttocks, relaxing your legs and your feet as you fully arrive into this moment. And together, let's take a deep healing breath in through the nose. Big open mouth exhale, sigh it out. Feel the sound of your voice. Releasing anything that's not serving you. And I invite you to begin to feel, sense, visualize, imagine, or simply intend that deep within the center of your heart, you can see a candlelight flame of violet fire burning in your heart space. Allowing the vision of this violet flame to come forward for you and manifest in your mind's eye, feeling it in your chest. Every inhalation, allowing this violet flame to grow brighter, and every exhalation, it grows a little bit bigger, a little bit more powerful. Remembering that this flame will not hurt you. It can simply alleviate heavy, dark, non-beneficial energies that you may be carrying with you from simply being human. So as you inhale, this flame grows brighter. And as you exhale, this flame begins to consume your whole chest, allowing the flame to grow big enough to engulf your entire heart center, your entire upper body, inhaling and allowing this flame to grow brighter. Exhaling, feeling this flame grow down your arms, down your stomach. That grief, that shame, that weight you've been carrying on your shoulders, allow it to burn away and be transmuted. Breathing and feeling the flame grow brighter. Exhaling as you allow it to grow, engulfing your legs and your feet, consuming your face, your throat, growing into your auric field, so the energy surrounding your body, and allowing this flame to gently and lovingly transmute anything you've been carrying with you that doesn't serve you right now. Feel lighter and lightened by this violet flame. Inhaling, allowing the flame to grow brighter, and exhaling, feeling, visualizing, or simply intend that the flame begins to grow, catching the room surrounding you, filling up the entire room where you are sitting, allowing any stagnant energy to be moved out from this room. Breathing through the experience, allowing yourself to be with what is. As you inhale, allowing the flame to grow brighter, and exhaling on your own time, allowing the flame to grow and consume the entire home or apartment building or wherever you are, the entire building, the entire space that you are in, watching all of the beings within this space become alleviated, their heaviness, their darkness, their stresses burning away, seeing them at peace in their lives as you breathe through this experience, inhaling and exhaling, allowing all of the stagnant energy to be transmuted. As you inhale, the flame grows brighter, and exhaling, allowing this flame to expand, watching or intending for this beautiful, peaceful, loving violet flame to consume the entire town or city or area of land where you are living, watching all of the beings, seen and unseen, become alleviated, enlightened, peaceful, loved from this experience, knowing that they are living in alignment with what they need at this time. As you inhale, this flame grows brighter. Exhaling, allowing the flame to expand, visualizing, seeing, feeling, or intending for it to consume the entire country where you live. All the people, all the beings, the land that is maybe suffering, the water, everything engulfed by this flame is being alleviated, is being made lighter. The pain and suffering, the stress, the confusion burning away. Watch these beings find peace and love. As you inhale deeply, the flame grows brighter. And exhaling completely, I invite you to zoom out completely and see the entire earth embraced by this beautiful, loving violet flame. Feeling your heart center open with love and gratitude as you watch all the beings who maybe are suffering, struggling, confused, or lost right now, finding their way, finding their peace, finding the light within themselves. Holding this space for all of creation for a moment. Feeling the gratitude for this work, feeling the love for this planet, our home, feeling the gratitude for yourself, and sharing that understanding, love, light, peace, joy, satisfaction, understanding with the entire world. As we take one more deep inhale, exhaling completely, bringing your attention back to your heart space, perhaps bringing your hands to your heart, feeling the warmth of your palms on your chest, feeling the beating of your heart in your palms, feeling the weight of your body supported by your surface, feeling into your feet, your legs, your tailbone, sits bones, your spine, your shoulders, your skull, feeling into your eyes behind your eyelids. Maybe taking another breath of gratitude here, and gently on your own time, I invite you to flutter your eyes open and return.
Hmm. What a beautiful, beautiful meditation. Oh,
Hmm.
I was gonna stay there.
Yeah, I was I was gonna invite anyone who wants to stay there to stay there. Go back if you want.
Yeah, very beautiful. I think we
Yeah,
can all say that this year was crazy, and the more time we can actually just allow ourselves to stay present with our own energy, it helps so much through the
yeah,
process.
yeah. Our own energy. I think that's the key is to let go of other people's energies from dictating our thoughts, words, and actions at this time. Can we hold space for what people are going through without allowing their fears or their stories to limit our experience. And that's been a big one. One of the things lately for me is one of the most rebellious things you can do right now is to love in the face of so much fear. And it's like it's cool. It's cool to be hateful and it's cool to be apathetic, but I've never been one to be cool.
Right, right. And I think it's good also. We're here to shake the tree a bit, right? So I think when we stay loving towards people that are aggressive or like very negative, it's like they're
Yeah.
looking at us like, you don't react like most people. No, we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most jarring things in a world where everyone is yelling is to whisper. And I think
Right.
that's a similar thing when everyone's so loud. Once you whisper, that's the thing that breaks the noise because it's different and it's, yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of they're just showing me like it's like if the angels through us are just calming the energies and just like it doesn't have to be always chaotic. We learn
yeah,
through chaos. We,
we
through
do.
chaos is why we came here probably to move through hoops and all of that. But we can't be always in chaos. It's way too much for a nervous system and all
It
of
really
the
is. It really is. I think also one thing that's coming through to me is one of the reasons that a lot of us are not seeing like a lot of new music. It's hard for creators to create new things right now is because we're in fight or flight. We're in survival mode with the chaos and our stressful lives, and you can't be in creation mode at the same time as being in survival mode. And um, I think that pandemic really showed us for a moment that things weren't working, and it's just our choice to do we go back to what's not working. I don't think that we can. I can't. So yeah, so let's move forward and maybe things have to fall apart, and that's scary. I think a lot of people are holding on really desperately because what happens when the earth falls out of beneath our feet? But it's just that's when our wings come. So, uh,
definitely, definitely so much wisdom in you, beautiful soul. It's really nice to connect with you.
yeah, nice to connect.
Um, let me yeah just ask you one last thing. We'll put all of your links and all of the things
Yeah,
in the bottom of this video, but please share anything that you would like people to leave this conversation we had today moving forward.
anything. I think one thing that really resonates with me right now is that you have always and will always have the key to your destiny, your purpose, your meaning for life that's here. I think that a lot of people search far and wide outside of themselves for certifications and trainings and this and that and the other. And what you're meant to be doing on this planet, who you're meant to be on this planet, is within you. It always has been within you, and it always will be within you. And so the journey isn't searching over the horizon to try to find your path. The journey is looking down beneath your feet and to realize that you're already walking your path. And so the simplest thing is to tune into your heart. What lights you up? What is the thing that you love the most in the world? That is something that will bring you thriving. You may not see it in the world, but we're not all here to do what everyone else used to do. We're here to do what we're supposed to do. And so if you haven't seen anyone making a thriving, doing something very particular to you, that's just because there's no one doing it yet. That doesn't mean it's not possible. So
I
for me, it's
love
it's
that.
it's like your authentic self. You are, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's what it is. This idea of original sin, it's not original sin, it's original gift. You have an original gift. And we need to dissolve this thought that you are not enough. You are enough. You will always be enough. And that authenticity that you can be is going to be magic. It's going to be so mind blowingly magical for you. And so when you're ready, to become authentic, to live more authentically, it's just the blessings will show up and it's gonna be something that will be undeniable. Once you take that leap and you realize that you can fly, is it's just beautiful.
Aw, I love that. It's such a beautiful idea and image that you just gave us because I think all of us also know how much energy it takes to not be on your path. It's like
Yeah,
when you are on your path, you're like, oh, actually, work, which is my mission, actually gives me energy and I actually feel
Yeah,
good with it. It's like,
yeah.
oh, that was not my path then. Okay. And as you said, like, it's like as you said, it's like we always think we're not at the right place at the right time. We are, but at the same
Hmm.
time, we need to make actions. Like things are not just fall into our lap if we're just waiting and waiting, right? So like follow those passions of yours and just, as you said, take the leap and you'll be surprised on
Yeah.
how the universe reacts when you say, okay, I'm ready. Let's
Hmm.
do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah, thank
Lovely
you.
soul.
Yeah,
I
lovely
wish
to
you
connect.
so many beautiful souls coming your way for your beautiful business. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
your light, your love with the world, with the animals, with the people, humanity, for helping Ascension in your own unique way. It was a pleasure to have you on my
Yes,
podcast.
it was really lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'll see you all in the next one, and please connect with him, with my beautiful guest, Kema, if you need any support. All right, beautiful souls. Bye.